We take care of the whole recovery process, getting them back to the level they were before they got injured, and many times even better. What's involved is preserving dreams.
The first thing I do with any athlete is figure out their goals and then try to make a plan based upon that.
One of the things that people don't quite understand about team physicians is how invested we are in these people's lives. We don't look at you as a guy with a shoulder problem. We try to understand what it is that makes you tick.
At Athletic Brewing Company, we've built America's first craft non-alcoholic brewery. We've created a lineup of award-winning non-alcoholic beers. Our beers are made with organic grains and start at only 50 calories. Athletic beers are perfect for anyone who loves being healthy and active, but also loves to enjoy great tasting beer with friends. To give us a try, go to athleticbrewingcompany.com and use code ATHLETIC20 for 20% off your first order.
You're there for them. We're here for you. Get back the life you love.
Welcome to the first episode of Takeover Trivia. This week we have members of the women's soccer program. My name's Mike Kowalski. You might know me from our wildly popular Rourkecast podcast. Let's just jump right in. I want to introduce our four contestants on our first ever Takeover Trivia game. We have Juliet Allen, we have Talia Tyler, Liz Matei, and Grace Hurren. We're going to meet our first two contestants really fast before we start playing. Juliet, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you are right now, and what year you are, and maybe your major, and how you started playing soccer.
Yeah, hi, I'm Juliet. I'm a senior in Columbia College studying biochemistry. I'm from the Bay Area, California, but currently living in Austin, Texas for the semester. Let's see how I started playing soccer. My sister started playing soccer when I was really young, and she was a goalkeeper just like I am, and she always came back from practice really muddy and dirty, and that looked really fun to me. So that's how I started goalkeeping.
How do you think you're going to do in this game today?
I am an avid Jeopardy watcher, so I know the game pretty well. So we'll see how it goes.
Maybe this could be the first step to an appearance on the real Jeopardy.
Hopefully. Hopefully.
All right. Talia, thanks for joining us. Why don't you let us know where you are, where you're from, and what position you play and what's your major?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm Talia. I'm a psych major. I play forward. And what was the last question? Where I'm from? I'm from Michigan, Team Michigan.
Okay, and you're in Michigan right now, or are you somewhere else?
I am. Yes, I'm in Michigan.
How are those? How are the first couple days of classes been for you virtually?
Pretty good. I took a summer class, so I'm kind of used to it.
Okay, you guys are all in the swing of it from the spring and everything. So we'll get going here for round one of Takeover Trivia, and we'll talk to Liz and Grace for round two. So Juliet, by virtue of joining the Zoom call first, you're going to get the first category selection. So I'll run through them really fast. We have football or football, which is basically you're going to have to decipher whether we're talking about American football or soccer. Famous Colombians, which is pretty self-explanatory. Some, famous people that have attended the university. Standard setters, which refers to Colombia women's soccer record holders and things like that. Where am I refers to places on Columbia's campus. So Grace, I know you haven't been on campus very much, so do your best with that one. And who am I, which are some little tidbits about members of the women's soccer team that we were able to pull from their GoColumbiaLions.com bios. So with that said, are we ready to play? Juliet, it's your board.
Let's go Where Am I for 100.
Okay. A bronze sculpture created by Daniel Chester French, which is now located on the steps leading to Lowe Memorial Library. Liz got in first.
The alma mater.
Sorry, you have to answer in the form of the question. That is incorrect. So Juliet was second. So do you want to clarify the answer?
What is alma mater?
Correct. So Liz loses 100 and Juliet gets on the board with 100. We said at the outset we are going to be sticklers for answering in the form of the question. That is the first warning. So Juliet, the board remains with you.
Let's stay with Where Am I for 2.
Okay. Where am I for 200? Columbia's largest single library with over 2 million volumes, as well as one of the largest buildings on campus. Talia.
What is Loeb Library?
Sorry, that's incorrect. Next person that buzzed in was Liz.
What is Butler Library?
That is correct. So Talia loses 200 and Liz is on the board. Liz, the board goes to you. So what's the next category we're going to play here?
Let's do Who Am I 300.
Who am I for 300? My overtime golden goal against Bucknell was named the top women's play of the year at last year's Virtual C celebration. Liz.
Who is Gracie Wall?
That is correct. Well done. Somebody watched last year. So we have Liz in first place with 400 points and Juliet with 100, Talia with negative 200, and Grace yet to get on the board. So Liz, it is still you. So you can pick the next category.
Let's do football or football for 400.
The game begins in this sport with a kickoff from the 35-yard line, usually. Grace?
What is football?
That is correct. We say usually the 35-yard line because in the Ivy League, we kick off from the 45 in conference games. So fun fact there. So Grace is on the board for 400 and is now tied for first place after getting one question right. Grace, what's the next category we're going to play?
Famous Colombians for 200.
Famous Colombians for 200. The 44th president of the United States transferred to Columbia in 1981 and lived off campus on West 109th Street. Juliet got in first, so let's see what she has to say.
Who is Barack Obama?
That's correct. All right, Juliet, the board goes back to you.
Okay, let's do football or football for 300.
Detroit has a major professional team in every sport except this one. Talia.
What is football?
That is correct. Make sure we enunciate the football. Soccer would be accepted as well as we go on in this category. So to recap the scoreboard, which you can see on the screen, Liz has 400, tied with Grace at 400. Juliet has 300, and Talia, who has control of the board, with 100. So what's it going to be next, Talia?
Can we go 500 for football or football?
World record holder in the 100-meter dash, Usain Bolt retired from his second sport in 2018. Talia got in first.
What is football?
Correct. Talia on a little bit of a roll here, so you get to pick the next category.
Let's go 200 for football or football.
During these games, if a player or coach commits a penalty, a yellow flag is thrown onto the field by the official. Juliet.
What is football?
That is correct, as we are recording this on opening night of the NFL season. So Julie gets back on the board. She's 100 points behind Talia, and she has control.
Let's do Where Am I for 400.
Where am I for 400? Formerly known as the Macmillan, this performing arts facility dedicated to developing and presenting new music was renamed in 1988. Talia.
What is the Miller Theater?
That's correct. Very good.
Ooh, nice.
Knows her Columbia landmarks.
Nice, Tal.
So with that answer, you put you in first place by 500. So it's your board.
Can we go Where Am I for 500?
Where am I for 500? One of the first buildings in New York City to be designated as an official historic landmark, this venue holds hundreds of religious and campus events each year. Juliet.
What is St. Paul's Chapel?
Correct. The upperclassmen flexing their muscle on this category. All right, Juliet, it is your turn again.
Let's do Who Am I for 400.
Who am I for 400? I was a two-time Ivy League Rookie of the Week in 2018 and was second on the team in points as a sophomore. That is Juliet.
Who is Jess Schildkraut?
Correct. Nice work there, knowing your teammates. It's very nice work. So Juliet, you remain in control.
Let's do Standard Setters for 100.
First one in the Standard Setters category. The Lions won their first Ivy League championship in this year. Liz gets in first.
What is 2006?
Correct.
When?
Very nice. Liz gets back on the board. She's tied with Grace with 400 points, and she gets to choose the next category.
Let's do 500.
Who am I for 500? I have deep Ivy League roots, as my mother, aunt, and grandfather all graduated from Harvard, and my brother is a current student at in Cambridge. Anybody need?
What?
All right,
This has got to be a...
Oh, Grace gets in just before time expires.
Who is Kat Jordan?
Correct. Another fellow freshman.
What? That's tough. That's tough on us.
Great pull at the horn. So Grace moves into third place with 900 points.
Oh my god, I'm screaming. They're literally doing contribute. Look.
And you get to choose the next category.
Can I do famous Colombians for 300?
Famous Colombians for
You're getting asked
300.
what? Oh, okay.
Okay. The first female aviator to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean attended the School of General Studies from 1919-20 and again in 1925. Talia.
Who is Amelia Earhart?
Correct. Nice work.
This is just like 4 of our soccer teammates, and I was like, what? Whose idea was
So Talia moves, gets further into second place, and she has control as we're getting ready to wind down round 1 of Takeover Trivia.
Can I do famous Colombians for 500?
Famous Colombians for 500. This notorious Associate Justice of the United States Supreme Court graduated at first in her class at Columbia Law School. Liz.
Who is Ruth Bader Ginsburg?
Correct. That. Liz gets another 500 points, which is big, gets her right back in the thick of things, and she gets to choose the next category.
Let's do standard setters for 400.
Standard setters for 400. Columbia defeated this fellow New York City school by a score of 11-0 on September 24th, 2017 to set program records for most goals and largest margin of victory. Talia.
What is Wagner?
That is correct. I was there for that game. There was a lot of goals, a lot of highlight reel goals too. So a lot of fun. Hopefully we can get back to seeing you guys on the field soon. So Talia now up to 1,600 or 2,000 points, excuse me, as we update the scoreboard. She's in first place. It's your board.
Can we do famous Colombians for 400?
Famous Colombians for 400. The chief anchor and political correspondent on ABC News and co-anchor of Good Morning America was a sports broadcaster for WKCR-FM during his days on Morningside Heights. Sorry, time is up. And the correct answer is George Stephanopoulos, class of 1982. So nobody loses points on that one. And we will go back to Talia.
Can we do Where Am I 300?
Where am I for 300? Closing out the first category of the first round. Popular on-campus eatery that serves prepared meals and American staples, plus brunch in a mahogany room. Talia.
What is JJ's?
I'll allow it. What is John J. Dining Hall? We'll keep rolling. It's affectionately known as JJ's to the student body, so we'll let it roll. So Talia in first place with 2,300 points, followed by Juliet with 1,400, then Liz with 1,000, and Grace getting a couple of high value questions right, so she's still in it with 900. So what's it going to be next?
Can we do football or football for 100?
Closing out our second category of the round. Sure. In this sport, the playing field can range from 100 and 130 yards in length. We go to Talia.
What is football?
Correct. Quick on the buzzer, Talia. You're on a little bit of a roll here. And you get to choose once again.
Can we do famous Colombians for 100?
This young, scrappy, and hungry founding father began attending Columbia, then known as King's College, in 1773. Juliet.
Who was Alexander Hamilton?
He did not throw away his shot. It is Alexander Hamilton. He regains control of the board, first person other than Talia for a while that gets to play the game.
Okay, let's go standard setters for 300.
A standout defender that graduated in May, this Montclair, New Jersey native earned all Ivy League honors 4 years in a row. Liz.
Who is Amalia Johnson?
And on the fly. That's really impressive. Multitasking, changing locations, and getting the question.
Yeah, my Wi-Fi
right.
sucks.
So Liz jumps in with 1,300 points, creeping up on Juliet, and she gets to choose the next category.
Standard setters 500.
This Columbia Athletics Hall of Famer was the Ivy League Player of the Year in 2008 and the program's first All-American in 2009. Time is up. The answer is, who is Sophie Reiser, class of 2010. So no points lost on that one, and control remains with Liz.
Let's do Who Am I 200.
Who am I for 200? I appeared in 14 games and recently served as one of the hosts of the Roaring Remotely event. Talia.
Who is Kayla Lee?
That is
Yo,
correct.
you clicked so early.
Yeah,
Sorry.
you buzz in early,
That's,
Talia
that's
Tyler.
not fair, man.
Wow, we're getting competitive here, and I like it. Showing the fire. Talia did get it right, though. So we're going to give her the... Yep, we got it right now. As we update the scoreboard, Kayla Lee, if you watched on Money, was a great host of the Roaring Remotely event. Talia, it's your board with 2 categories remaining in the first round.
Can we do Who Am I for 100?
We can. California native whose sister played water polo at Santa Clara. Juliet.
Who's Juliet Allen?
Wow, in the game. We need to do a better job of vetting these questions. I think we created the game board before we realized who was going to be on a guest, but that's okay. It was only worth 100 points anyway. Juliet, let's close out the round with standard setters for 2,000. Here we go. This recent graduate is one of just 2 Lions that have posted a hat trick. Juliet.
Was Emily Coe?
It's incorrect. Damn. So we're going to knock some points off of Juliet. And does anybody else want to take a guess? I'm going to take that as a no. So we're going to, time is up. The answer is, who is Emma Anderson? Only 2 hat tricks in Columbia program history. So that wraps up round 1. We have Talia in first place with 2,600 points, Juliet with 1,400, Liz with 1,300, and Grace in 900. But the good news is points are doubled in the second round, so there's plenty of opportunity to come back. And plus, there's the final exam for a chance where you can wager as much as you have, and it's anybody's ball game right now. So we're going to get set for round 2, but before we do that, let's introduce our final 2 contestants of the evening. Liz, why don't you tell us where you are from, and if that's where you're currently joining us from, and what's your major and what position you play, a little bit about yourself.
Hi guys, my name's Liz Matei. I'm from Florida, but I'm currently in New York, and I'm a goalkeeper. I am majoring in psych, doing like pre-med, and let's say how I started soccer. I actually started as a forward, but I did get thrown into goal for certain reasons, but then I eventually just stuck with it. So yeah, now I'm a goalkeeper.
What's it been like being back in New York City?
Awesome. I'm here with all my friends. I love New York, love the city, so it's been a great experience so far.
Grace, you're a first year. How's everything been going so far? Let us know where you are and your position and what you intend on majoring, because we know you haven't decided on that yet.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So I'm from New Jersey, so I'm only about like an hour and a half from the city. I am I'm planning on majoring in economics and environment and sustainability at Barnard College. I also play midfield and center back.
Right. Well, hopefully we can get you on campus soon, and you can actually meet all of your teammates in person and not through Zoom calls.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really struggling right now because I go to Barnard and I've never been on campus for school. So I'm struggling with some categories, but we'll see how it goes.
So we're going to start with round 2. Again, the points are doubled. I will roll through the categories really quickly. So we have Columbia General Knowledge, which again, pretty self-explanatory. Questions, you have the USWNT, which is questions about the U.S. women's national team. Columbia on the Screen, which refers to Columbia being portrayed in the movies. So there's various questions about that. Columbia Records isn't about like soccer records or anything. It's about music and Columbia themed things that involve music. And Know Your Coach. And this category is all about Tracy Bartholomew. So that's going to get really interesting and see how well you know your coach. So we're going to start things over. We're going to give Grace a chance to start by picking the categories, try to get back in this thing because there are no real hard rules on this. So Grace, what do you want to start with in round 2?
I'll do Columbia Knowledge for 400.
Columbia General Knowledge for 400. Let me make sure. A weekly student newspaper of Columbia that was founded in 1877 and is the second oldest continuously operating news daily in the nation. Talia.
What is the Columbia Spectator?
Correct. Talia is picking up right where she left off, so Talia gets the first points of round 2. And you are back in control of the board.
Can we do Columbia on the screen for 400?
Columbia on the screen for 400. The fictional protagonist from this television show is an architecture professor at Columbia. Anybody? All right, time is up. What is How I Met Your Mother, Ted Mosby? So nobody got that one right. No points exchanged, or lost. None gained, and the board goes back to Talia.
Can we go Columbia on the screen for 200?
Sticking with Columbia on the screen for 200. This ghostly movie starring Bill Murray was filmed in Butler Library and all around campus. Talia, you got in first once again.
What is Ghostbusters?
Correct. So Talia gets the points once again, staying in control here, building up that lead in round 2. Again, points are doubled. So what's it going to be next?
Let's stay with Columbia on the screen for 600.
We have a movie buff here. Movies filmed in this lecture hall include Mona Lisa Smile, The Mirror Has Two Faces, Malcolm X, Kinsey, Rollover, and Awakenings. Juliet.
What is Havemeyer?
I'll allow it. That's good.
Havemeyer 309.
Yeah. What is Havemeyer 309? You got it in even before I said it, so we'll give her the points for Juliet. Getting control back on, so that's a big 600 points to get you kind of inch it closer to your teammate Talia. So what do you want to go with next?
Let's stay with Columbia on the screen for 800.
Popular category. The facade of this restaurant was regularly featured on Seinfeld. Grace.
What is Tom's Restaurant?
Got it.
I watch a lot of Seinfeld.
So if points go to Grace on that one, that brings her to 1,700 and brings her all the way into third place. And Grace, you get to pick the next category.
What is U.S. Women's National Team for 400?
U.S. Women's National Team for 400. She is the USWNT's all-time leader in goals scored with 184. Liz.
Who is Abby Wambach?
That is correct. Liz jumps back into third place with the correct answer there. So she's up to, let's see, 1,700, tied with Grace, excuse me. And she has control of the next category.
All right, let's do Know Your Coach for 600.
Know Your Coach for 600. Bartholomew led Columbia to a 7-4-6 record in this year, her first with the Lions. Grace.
What is 2013?
Sorry, that's incorrect. So Grace loses points, and Talia got in second.
What is 2014?
That is correct. That was her first year. She was hired actually in the winter of 2013. Her first technical season with Columbia was 2014. So very close on that. A little bit of a tricky question, but Talia gets points, and we move on in round number 2.
Let's go Columbia on the screen for 1,000.
Closing out the category, this superhero attended Columbia University. Talia.
Who is Spider-Man?
That is correct. We would have accepted Peter Parker's alter ego as well, but that closes out Columbia on the screen. I'm glad you guys enjoyed that category. So Talia extends the lead to 4,800 points. And in second place, we have Juliet, followed by Liz and Grace in fourth right now. But again, there's still time, still a lot of big numbers on the board. So Talia, will throw it back to you, and you get to pick the next category.
Can we go Columbia General Knowledge for 600?
Sorry, 600. In this year, Columbia students solidified its reputation for activism by staging a protest against university policies. Okay. Grace, buzzing in, gonna give it a shot.
What is 1970?
Sorry, that's incorrect. So Grace drops a few points on that one, but it's worth a shot at that point. Anybody else? Okay, so time is up, and the year was actually 1968. Very close. Again, Grace is so close on the years. It was a tough question. So we go back to Talia with control of the board.
Let's go 200 for Columbia General Knowledge.
Okay, 200 for general knowledge. In this year, Columbia University was originally founded. Juliet.
What is 1754?
That is correct. Before the actual start of the United States, one of the oldest universities in the country. So Juliet gets the points, and she has control of the board once again.
Let's do Columbia Records for 400.
Columbia Records for 400. This musical duo that graduated from Columbia went on to write musicals such as Carousel and The King and I. Not a lot of musical fans. Time is up. And the answer is Richard Rodgers and Oscar Hammerstein. So nobody got any points on that one. We'll give it back to Juliet to pick the next category.
Let's do Columbia Records for 600.
Columbia Records for 600. Performers at this annual spring festival have included the likes of Lupe Fiasco, The Chainsmokers, Snoop Dogg, and Vampire Weekend. Talia.
What is Bucknell?
That is correct. Obviously hasn't happened last spring, but hopefully, again, things do get back to normal. We'll have another performance there this spring on the steps of Low Library. So Talia gets back on the board is up to 5,400 points, and she gets to pick the next category.
Let's do Columbia Records for 800.
Columbia Records for 800. This student production is the oldest tradition at Columbia. Oh, no. Juliet gets in just in time.
What is the Varsity Show?
That is correct. Getting it in just in time. So points go to Juliet on that one, and she takes over control once again. So she's up to 3,000 points, still trailing Talia by 2,400. And we've got a few more categories to play.
Okay, let's do Columbia Records for 1,000.
Columbia Records for 1,000. Students in this core curriculum course frequently attend performances at such venues as Lincoln Center and Carnegie Hall with their class. Liz.
What is Music Hum?
That is correct. We also would have received the Masterpieces of Western Music, which is a technical term for it. But Liz getting on the board here, and she gets up to 2,700. So trying to creep her way back in, and you get to pick the next category.
Let's do U.S. Women's National Team for 800.
U.S. Women's National Team for 800. And this year, the first Women's World Cup took place in China. No takers on the year this time, so nobody getting any points on this one. The year is actually, what is 1991? So somewhat recently. Obviously, it's in an odd year because it doesn't go the same year as the Men's World Cup. So we'll throw it back to Liz and to pick the next category.
Okay, let's do know your coach for 400.
Know your coach for 400. This school, nicknamed the Yellow Jackets, is where Tracy Bartholomew attended college. Talia.
What is the University of Rochester?
Correct, in Western New York. So the points go to Talia once again, up to 5,800, and she gets to pick the next category.
Let's do know your coach for 800.
Know your coach for 800. This is the number of all Columbia players that have earned all Ivy League honors under Tracy Bartholomew. Tough question. Nobody wants to throw out a guess. Nobody wants to try to get back in. Okay, time is up. The answer is 30, which is a pretty good number for a coach in 6 seasons. Talia, it goes back to you.
Can I do know your coach for 1,000?
Know your coach for 1,000. Tracy Bartholomew's first Ivy League victory came against this team in 2014. No takers on this one either. Time is up. And the answer is, what is Cornell? Talia, we'll go back to you.
Let's stay in the same category for 200.
Closing out, know your coach for 200. Prior to Columbia, Tracy Bartholomew spent 13 years at this college. Liz got in first.
What is Long Island University?
Yep, that is correct. LIU Brooklyn won several NCAA championships and won some NEC titles before coming to the Lions in 2013. That is correct. So Liz, we'll throw it back to you.
U.S. Women's National Team for 1,000.
U.S. Women's National Team for 1,000. This country upset the USWNT in controversial fashion in the 2016 Olympics, halting the United States gold medal streak at 3. Juliet.
What is Japan?
Incorrect. So Juliet loses points on that one, loses 1,000. Anybody else? Okay, time is up. The correct answer is Sweden. So Liz, goes back to you.
Okay, U.S. Women's National Team for 600.
Okay. Out. This is the number of World Cups the United States has won. We'll go to Juliet.
What is 4?
That is correct. Good answer. So Juliet gets the points for 600, brings her up to 2,600, and she regains control of the board.
Let's do general knowledge for 800.
Columbia General Knowledge for 800. Columbia University was founded under this name. Talia.
What is King's College?
That is correct. Getting back on the board. So points go to Talia on that one for 800. So up to 6,600, starting to run away with it. But again, we still have the final round to go. So there's still a chance. And what are we going to go with? There's 3 categories left.
Let's finish out that category for 1,000.
Columbia General Knowledge for 1,000. This is the nickname students use for President Lee Bollinger. Liz got in first.
What is Presbo?
That is correct. So Liz will go gain 1,000 points, not dollars, because we can't give away dollars in this game because it's not real Jeopardy. So Liz, 2 categories left. What's it going to be?
U.S. Women's National Team, 200.
U.S. Women's National Team for 200. She scored the game-winning penalty shootout goal for the USWNT in 1999. Juliet buzzed in first, so we'll go to her.
Who is Brandy Chastain?
That is correct. So she gets the 200 points. Juliet gets to close. Well, there's only one category left, so we'll go to Columbia Records for 200 here before we get to the final round here. This is Colombia's main fight song? Juliet?
What is Roar Lion Roar?
That is correct. And that wraps up round 2 of Takeover Trivia. So we'll go through the points run one more time, and we'll start getting ready for the final exam, the final question of the evening. So in first place, we have Talia with 6,600, followed by Liz with 3,900, Juliet with 3,000, and Grace in fourth place with 500. Hanging in there, still a chance if everybody bids high in the final exam. All right, we're going to move on to the final round, which is similar to Final Jeopardy in real life. It's going to be a little bit different because we're not going to have you all write things down off the bat. We're going to use the chat function in Zoom. So we're going to switch over the game board to Final Jeopardy right now. The category is Famous Columbia Siblings. Famous Columbia siblings. So if you could send your bids in the chat, that would be great. So I got one in so far. Okay, another one in. That's 3. All right, so final bids are in. The answer is this brother and sister combo are both actors who attended Columbia together during the 1997-98 academic year and starred together in the cult classic Donnie Darko. So you guys have 30 seconds to type into the chat your answers, and we'll see who is the winner of the first game of Takeover Trivia. Couple more seconds to get your answers in. All right, time is up. We'll reveal the answer right now. The answer is, who are Jake and Maggie Gyllenhaal? So let's see who got this right. We will start with Grace. She had 500 points coming into the final round, and she bid 500 points, and her answer, quite frankly, was no clue. So Grace goes down to 0, and we'll see what everybody else's bids are. So she drops down. And we had in third place was Juliet with 3,000 points. And her wager, she went all in. And her answer is, who is Jake and Maggie Gyllenhaal? So she got it correct. She was a little unsure of herself. She said no idea at the end, but it still counts. So
I spelled it wrong too.
It's fine. It's close enough. I knew what you were saying. So she is up to 6,000 points. Now we'll see if that's going to be enough to overthrow Talia and see what happened with Liz. Liz bid 500, and she did not know the answer. She did not get her answer. I don't believe so. She didn't know. So she lost 500 so she lost 500 in the final round. So she is down to 3,400, which means unless Talia bid something outlandish, she is going to be the winner. And her answer was she didn't know. And the final bid was 1,400. 1,400 cuts her down to 5,200, which means Juliet is our winner with 6,000 points. The senior goalkeeper from the Bay Area comes through with a final round victory with 6,000 points. Congratulations, Juliet.
Yay.
Talia, babe, what? Why?
I know I should have gone 0.
Yeah.
So with that, that wraps up our first game of Takeover Trivia. We want to thank all of our contestants, Grace, Liz, Talia, and Juliet, for joining us. I hope you're enjoying all of the women's soccer content on the Go Columbia Lions social media channels and the website, gocolumbialions.com. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with a brand new episode. We hope you enjoyed it. So until next time, I'm Mike Kowalski. This has been Takeover Trivia, presented by Columbia Orthopedics.